Hey guys, I've got a question from the one of the last videos on extroverted thinking versus introverted thinking. And the question's from Eric Moore. And he's saying, I'm having issues typing myself. I've been typed 2 times using 2 different typing services as an INFJ and INTJ. This was done via email, so I'm not 100% convinced of the evaluations. I've been trying to do this on my own, but it's hard to identify my dominant function. Could it be that my dominant function comes so naturally that I'm not aware that I'm using it? What advice can you give me on this? Okay, so we can do a quick how to tell the difference, because we don't have much time here. But I want to give you like just a quick overview of the 2 types, and this will probably help you out. So thanks for the question, by the way. All right, let's take a deeper look. All right, so we have in this slot here, that's like the common terminology. Like in this place here, we have introverted intuition for both. Like let's say you were looking at 2 people, and one was INFJ and one was INTJ, and you were trying to tell the difference. You have an area of strength and pride in introverted intuition. And what Carl Jung would say, and the way he defined it, was it's a person who's very determined to flesh out inner images, like that have archetypal significance, you could say. And so, I mean, you're not in other people's heads, so you can't really tell whether they're doing that or not, for sure. But you're in your own head, so if you have any self-awareness, this is something that you would be able to figure out, because it's supposed to be something you're prideful about, and that organizes your adaptation to life, basically. If you subscribe to Jungian psychology, or not even Jungian psychology, just typology in general, because typology doesn't even have to do with a lot of the Jungian psychoanalytical concepts. Typology is like kind of like a short thing that Jung wrote about, and then people took it and blew it up. All right, long story short though, what does this look like on the outside if you're observing someone? It looks like it's somebody who's very speculative and ideological, and they don't rely really on anybody else to form their speculations, okay? And their speculations might seem very intrinsic to them. They're introverted, so it comes from themselves, okay? Rather than focusing on external intuitions, which would be like an extroverted intuitive, they're introverted intuitives, okay? So, in other words, this means that if you try to share your own inner realizations with them, they may be like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, they're not going to be dismissive of it, because it's it's a strength. And if you feel prideful or you're strong with something, then you're not going to be insecure with it. So you're not going to like put people down. But it's just like it's going to have not really much of an effect on their own speculations if you try to share yours with them. Okay. So. Also, extroverted sensation is an area of embarrassment and idealization. So it's something that they're going to have an inferiority complex about, or that's how the theory goes, when they're younger, and then they idealize it. So it's something that they try to work on as they get older. So it's something that you might not even really notice that much, but it's something that they take very seriously, and they're not going to be known for it, or at least as much as their dominant function, but they will try to make it into a strength. So you'll see this person that's very speculative and kind of in their heads a lot and ideological, but from time to time they'll have these instances of extroverted sensation if they're older and it's developed, where it'll be kind of notable. And it's not notable because it's such an insane extroverted sensation thing. It's more just notable because they're very speculative people. So you're just very surprised that you're like, where did this extroverted sensation come from? Basically, that's how people feel when they don't know somebody that's an introverted intuitive, and then they see that. Okay, so the difference so that's common between both of them. Okay, right? The introverted intuition and the sensation. Okay, that's going to be an inferiority complex for both of them, whereas the hero complex is introverted intuition. Okay, so in terms of extroverted thinking, so that's going to be in an area of fostering and protecting, or nurtures and protects others. Okay, so that's like the auxiliary function for somebody that is INTJ. For INFJ, it's extroverted feeling. So with somebody that's INFJ, their father or mother complex or auxiliary function has to do more with human relations, okay, than an analysis of, like, say, something external objects, which is extroverted thinking. So, like, say an extroverted thinker wants to know what to do with someone. Like you give them a problem and you're saying, I'm having these problems at work with these workers, and and it's a human relations problem. An extroverted thinking person may be like, okay, well, you know what, here's how I can help you guys. Can you take notes on when this person does such and such actions and give me a tally or something. They're going to want to externalize an analysis, and one way to do that is to collect data, okay, and give you prescriptions based on that. Extroverted feeling is different. Extroverted feeling is focused on actual emotions and actually observing and analyzing other people's emotions. Okay, so one way in that same situation, that person's going to want to know how people are relating to one another. All right, so the analysis is secondary in this situation to actually trying to fix people's emotions and being focused on human relations. Okay. So, okay, now we can move on to the puer, or the child, or the tertiary function in MBTI, which is the archetype is of an endearing child, okay, who copes by improvising. So it's not that the person is going to be necessarily childish with this function all the time, because let's say they're adults. Like I don't look at childish people when I type. So the examples I use are usually of adults who are, somewhat more developed. That's why I include them in the videos. So let's say with TI, you can basically say, okay, this person is makes use of introverted thinking from time to time, but they're not Albert Einstein. Okay, so it's like, all right, are they logical sometimes? Yeah. Okay, but they're not the most hardcore theoretical physicist. That's that example. So if we go to INTJ and we look at somebody who's an NITE person, then the puer, or child, or tertiary function, is introverted feeling. So okay, maybe this person has a very strong value system, and they're very good at sorting out their own emotions. That's in the child slot. So maybe they're good at doing that. Maybe you'll notice some introverted feeling. Are they William Shakespeare? No. So I'm not going to go into shadow functions, but that's basically how you can tell them apart. Is the most obvious thing is going to be that the person who's INFJ is going to be focused on human relations in terms of nurturing and protecting others. So I gave the example of trying to help someone out at work who's having a problem with coworkers. So maybe a manager comes to you with a problem, and you have to tell the manager, okay, here's how you manage your team. If the person is INFJ, they're more likely to give reasoning based on people's emotions, and the person who is NITE is going to try to collect objective data, or try to make decisions based on objective data. Okay, but introverted intuition is common between both of them. So if that's a strength and pride, like if you're not to Eric, the person that asked the question, if you're not on here already acknowledging your own strength, that could be, you could be one of those types. You know what I mean? That's not to say, because some people would be like, well, if you don't already know it's your strength, then that's not your type, which isn't the case. Like, it could be a strength for you. Maybe you're not realizing that, or maybe you're in an environment where, people don't actually acknowledge that it's a strength. Okay. So you're going to want to look how you're adapted, where the dominant see where the dominant function in the 8 function model is, the shorthand is given as that it organizes adaptation. Okay, so somebody that's an introverted intuitive might organize their life around being able to spend time fleshing out an ideology or being speculative. Okay, so that means that you don't have as much time as, say, a dominant extroverted sensation type actually engaging with the outer objects, because you're so focused on inner objects, or that's how the theory would go according to Jung. Okay, so you could also conversely say, all right, well, do you have an extroverted sensation inferiority complex? But that would be something that you'd have to be insanely honest with yourself to actually be able to admit. Like most of the time when you're in these circles, these personality type circles, people just focus on these functions. Even though there's all 8, they just focus on what are your top 2. And so people are like, well, you know, like some people might be like, well, I'm a scientist, or, you know, or I'm scientifically inclined, you know, and that's something they've just donned on themselves. So the whatchamacallit, the moniker for the scientist in this like MBTI schema is NITE. When it's like, okay, well, even if you're scientifically minded, you could be a scientifically minded and be any type. You know, you could be INFJ and be scientifically minded, but are you scientifically minded and you use that to nurture and protect people? Okay, maybe you're ISTJ or INTJ, right? If you do that and you also have an inferiority complex centered around extroverted sensation, then okay, that's more, that means you're leaning more towards INTJ than ISTJ, okay? But just for INFJ versus INTJ, remember that the way that these types will seek to nurture and protect other people is different. And for this thing, for the child function, just watch out. It's like, okay, if you're looking at older people, it's like, all right, maybe this person's 40 or 50 years old, so they've had some time to develop this, but it's like so-so. Okay, it's not terrible, it's not crazy good, but you know, it's there. All right, you know, like I said, is somebody that's, you know, IXTJ going to be William Shakespeare? Probably not. Is somebody that is INFJ going to be Albert Einstein? Maybe not, but maybe they're smart. Maybe this person is very emotionally well contained, you know, and they don't. Okay, I think that's enough because we're already at like 12 minutes. But yeah, just look at the clips and try to see if you can differentiate between the 2 types. I'm gonna play 3 clips, so 3 more minutes after this. So this should come out to about 15, 16 minutes. Yeah, look at the clips and try to say, okay, is this person INFJ or is this person INTJ? And then try to come to the comments and try to reason it out. Like, I think I'm gonna keep replying to stuff in videos instead of being in the comments. But yeah, we'll see how the discussion goes in the chat. Maybe the chat can help figure out your type.
A sense of a continuum of being that really was very highly networked, a mesh of being, and a kind of identity with that spread my consciousness and being out to a vast expanse in the, you know, as vast as could be. You were like identified with a consciousness grid that was completely coextensive with all space. And it's been really challenging trying to paint that, you know. You can have these visions, and anybody, I think, can have these kinds of visions, but then, like, how do you translate them into something that you can share with?
Well, you smile about it. You like to crush another man's ego?
Uh-huh. So when they go home that night, you know, they know that they can't kid themselves that they're so hot, you know.
You think the Russians are pretty worried about you at this moment?
Oh, yeah, they have been ever since I started playing chess.
Even as a little boy?
That's right. I remember the first thing they ever wrote about me was, you know, he's a talented player, and, you know, they showed a game I played, and then they said, but all this publicity he's getting and all of this attention cannot fail to have a harmful effect on his personality development. And sure enough, a few months later, I was a rotten person already in their press. I was doing this, I was doing that, I was conceited, you know. This is, you know, before I'd ever even, you know, they even knew anything about me personally, you know.
They sting you. They get to you.
Well, they don't anymore because I realize it has nothing to do with me. You know, if you were a great chess player, they'd be saying the exact same things about you.
Yes, I do it.
How do you know?
Because I work with a lot of women.
Right. Well, it's been happening for, 40 years? And things are deteriorating very rapidly at the moment in terms of the relationships between men and women.
Is there
sexual harassment in the workplace? Yes. Should it stop? That'd be good. Will it? Well, not at the moment it won't, because we don't know what the rules are.
Do you think men and women can work in the workplace together?
We don't know.
Without sexual harassment?
We'll see.
We'll see. How many years will it take for men and women working in the workplace together?
More than 40.
To get a sense.
We don't know what the rules are. Like what? Here's a rule.
Don't
How about
you-
no makeup in the workplace?
Why would that be a rule?
Why should you wear makeup in the workplace? Isn't that sexually provocative?
No.
It's not?
No.
Well, what is it then? What's the purpose of makeup?
Some people would like to just put on makeup.
Why?
I don't know why.
Why do
people
you
put
make
on-
your lips red? Because they turn red during sexual arousal. That's why.